The moment you try to be a good person for everyone around you, you quietly disappear from your own life. You don't notice it at first. It starts in tiny, forgettable moments. Someone asks you for a favor you don't have the energy for, and before your brain even forms a complete thought, your mouth says yes. Someone talks over you in a conversation, and you let it pass because you don't want to sound defensive. Someone makes a joke at your expense, and you laugh along even though it stings a little. These moments look harmless, and yet every time they happen, something subtle pulls tighter inside you, like a thread you never agreed to carry. Being a good person sounds noble, sounds kind, sounds morally correct, but the truth hiding underneath is that most people who spend their lives being good aren't actually being good. They're being scared. Scared of conflict, scared of rejection, scared of being misunderstood, scared of taking up space. And the mind builds habits so quietly that you don't realize you've spent years teaching yourself to respond to other people's needs faster than you respond to your own. You start recognizing it in the way you apologize before speaking, in the way you feel responsible for other people's disappointment, in the way you bend your tone, your face, your choices, just to be easier to absorb. And the strangest part is how automatic it becomes. You stop thinking about whether you want something. You only think about whether someone else will be okay with it. You don't ask yourself what you're feeling. You ask yourself whether your feelings will inconvenience anyone. You don't even notice that the question, "What do I want?" silently disappears from your internal vocabulary. And this is the hidden price of being a good person. The good version of you takes the lead, and the real you gets pushed to the back like an unwanted passenger. You begin acting out of fear without recognizing it as fear. You convince yourself that you're just being kind, being thoughtful, being polite. But kindness that costs you yourself is not kindness. It's self-erasure. And yet you keep doing it because the mind has learned one pattern so deeply it runs without permission. Stay good so you stay safe. And that one line, "Stay good so you stay safe," becomes the invisible rule that writes your life for you. The moment you try to be a good person for everyone around you, you quietly disappear from your own life. You might notice this pattern in the quiet panic that rises in you when someone is even slightly disappointed with you. It's small, like a pinprick under the skin, but it jolts your system. You rush to fix things, smooth things, make things better, even when you weren't the one who caused the problem. You feel an odd responsibility for people's moods, like you're the emotional janitor who must clean up any tension in the room. And the worst part is how good you've become at predicting what people want before they even ask for it. You scan expressions, tone, pauses in sentences. You calculate your responses like someone defusing a bomb. It's not conscious, it's survival. You've mistaken being agreeable for being safe for so long that the two have fused into one instinct. And this is where the loop forms. You try to be good because you fear losing acceptance. But the more good you become, the more people expect from you. The more they expect, the more pressure you feel to maintain the performance. And the more you perform, the further you drift from yourself. This loop tightens over the years until even expressing a small preference feels like you're breaking some unspoken contract. You think, if I say no, everything will change. If I express disappointment, I'll be judged. If I take up space, I'll be a problem. And that same line repeats in your mind, stay good so you stay safe. But the truth is, the safety you think you're protecting is imaginary. People like the version of you that doesn't challenge them because it serves their comfort, not your well-being. You've become the predictable, reliable, agreeable character in a story you didn't mean to write. And once you understand this, the question becomes painful. If the only version of you people accept is the version that costs you your honesty, are you actually accepted at all? Or are you tolerated because you're easy? There's a moment that eventually exposes this pattern, and it usually happens in something small. Imagine someone like Elric, a quiet man who prides himself on being reliable. He helps everyone. He says yes to everything. He works overtime for a coworker who slacks off. He listens to friends vent for hours, but never talks about his own problems because he doesn't want to burden anyone. One day, he finally says no to a friend who wants a last-minute favor. Nothing dramatic. Just a simple no, because he's exhausted. And within seconds, the friend's tone changes. A hint of irritation, a passive sigh, a comment like, "I guess you're busy." It's minor, But for someone like Elric, it's catastrophic. His chest tightens, his mind races, and the guilt floods in. He reconsiders his no. He wonders if he should apologize. He questions whether he's being selfish. This tiny moment reveals the entire mechanism of the good person trap. The panic doesn't come from the friend's reaction. The panic comes from the internal rule he has lived by. Stay good, so you stay safe. His brain interprets the smallest sign of disapproval as danger, not physical danger, emotional abandonment, rejection, loss of belonging. The fear is old, older than he realizes, and it's been shaping every good action for years. And this moment shows the truth he never wanted to face. His goodness was never kindness, it was self-protection. But the protection was built on a lie. He wasn't protecting himself, he was protecting other people's comfort at the expense of his own existence. And once he sees this, he can't unsee it. The hidden price reveals itself in its full weight. Every time you trade your truth to avoid discomfort, you teach people to love the mask, not the person, and you live your life proving you are safe to love, instead of discovering whether someone can love you as you are. The deeper problem is that the mind attaches identity to behavior. When you've spent years being the dependable one, the kind one, the forgiving one, the calm one, you start believing that your worth depends on maintaining that role. Any deviation feels like betrayal, not to others, but to yourself. Saying no feels like becoming a bad person. Disagreeing feels like starting a war. Setting a boundary feels like abandoning someone. So you keep choosing the good response, even when it's killing you, because the alternative feels like losing who you are. But this identity is false. It's a costume stitched from fear and habit. And beneath it lives a person who has needs, anger, preferences, limits, and desires you never allowed yourself to see. The good person identity is seductive because it keeps you liked, but it also keeps you emotionally invisible. You become the background character in your own life, helpful but hollow, appreciated but unheard, present but unseen. And because you don't express anything real, people project their own stories onto you. They assume you're fine. They assume you don't need support. They assume your silence means agreement. And so you end up surrounded by people who don't know you because you've never let them meet you. This is the emotional claustrophobia of the good person trap. And once again, the same line plays in your mind. Stay good, so you stay safe. But safety that demands you suppress your humanity is not safety. It's quiet suffering disguised as virtue. Here is the psychological truth that reframes everything. The mind of a good person is not driven by kindness. It's driven by fear of emotional punishment. The fear that someone will be upset with you. The fear that someone will pull away. The fear that you will be seen differently if you show your real feelings. This fear compresses your emotional range until only agreeable behaviors feel allowed. And the moment you realize this, you see that the good person identity is a survival strategy, not a personality trait. It's something you learned because it worked once. Maybe in childhood, maybe in a difficult relationship, maybe in a chaotic environment where being quiet and pleasing kept things calm. But when a survival strategy outlives its usefulness, it becomes a cage. And the bars of the cage are built from all the unsaid things you swallow daily. It takes time to notice it. At first, the awareness feels uncomfortable, like stepping into a room with bright lights after years of dimness. You see how you silence yourself mid-sentence. You see how you smile when you're hurt. You see how you over-explain simple things to avoid sounding harsh. You see how fast your mind searches for the right response instead of the honest one. And every time you notice it, that repeated line hits deeper. Stay good, so you stay safe. But now you understand that the line is a lie your fear has been whispering for years. You don't need goodness. You need authenticity. You don't need to avoid disappointing people. You need to stop disappointing yourself. Change doesn't start with bold moves. It starts with noticing the small moments when the automatic response kicks in. The moment your mouth says, "It's okay," before your heart even processes what happened. The moment your body tenses because someone might be unhappy with you. The moment you rush to fix something that was never yours to fix. At first, you won't do anything differently. You'll just see it. And that seeing is the beginning of psychological freedom. Because once you see a pattern clearly, you can't run it on autopilot anymore. The awareness interrupts the script. It slows the reaction. It opens a tiny space where choice can exist. You won't suddenly start saying no easily. You won't suddenly stop caring about people's feelings. What will happen is quieter and far more real. You'll begin to feel the conflict inside you instead of skipping over it. And feeling the conflict is progress. It means the real you is waking up from under the costume. You may still choose the good person response, but now it will be a choice, not a fear-driven reflex. And slowly, your tolerance for self-betrayal will shrink. You will feel the weight of saying yes when you want to say no. You will feel the sting of swallowing your truth. And that discomfort will guide you toward honesty, because your mind finally understands that staying good doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you small. Every moment of awareness chips away at the old rule you've been living by. And the line you used to obey starts losing its power. Stay good so you stay safe. There comes a quiet shift where you no longer feel responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. You start allowing people to react however they react. You stop trying to cushion every moment with politeness. You speak simply instead of perfectly. You let silence exist without rushing to fill it. And you begin to notice something surprising. The world doesn't collapse. People don't disappear. The ones who valued you only for your compliance may drift, but the ones who value your truth stay. You learn that disagreement doesn't mean danger. You learn that saying no doesn't make you unkind. You learn that being real makes connection deeper, not weaker. And slowly, the line that ruled your life, stay good so you stay safe, transforms into something healthier, stay real so you stay alive. This is the psychological action you can take starting now. Notice the next moment when you feel yourself adjusting, softening, shrinking, or smoothing your edges to be the good version of yourself. Don't stop it. Don't fight it. Just witness it. Feel the instinct. Name it. Interrupt the automatic pattern with awareness. And the next time, you'll have a little more room to choose differently. The hidden price of being a good person is losing yourself. The hidden reward of being an honest person is finally meeting yourself. And the final line you need to carry with you is this: the version of you that keeps everyone comfortable is the version of you that slowly disappears.